How to master newsletter copywriting. This is a full step-by-step guide. My name's Trey. I run Akari Social, where we build newsletters and back-end email systems for founders. So we are so confident that our system is going to make you money that we'll implement the entire system for 30 days for completely free. So just check the first link in the description if you're interested. But let's go ahead and get started. The honest truth is that most newsletters will fail because they're not using copywriting frameworks. They're also not using proper monetization strategies. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 key components to a successful newsletter. First, we'll go over how to pick your niche, crafting value propositions, some very common copywriting frameworks for your newsletters, structure and overall tone, and lastly, growth in monetization. So first off, step 1. Picking your niche and positioning. This is super, super important. You need to be laser targeted. You should be speaking to a very small group of people, and the people you're speaking to, you should be able to solve their big problem or problems. So for example, what's very broad is doing marketing tips, whereas something like helping solo agency owners make under $10,000 a month who struggle to retain clients through emails. That is specific. That is hyper-focused and laser-targeted. That's the kind of niche and positioning you want to put yourself in. Next up, crafting your value proposition. This is super simply put, is this newsletter helps who do what without the big fear or pain point. An example with one of our clients we're currently working with, they do AI design. And so their whole value proposition is AI design tools and workflows that save you 20 plus hours a week. I sometimes need designs. I sometimes need UI and UX designs. If I could find tools and workflows that save me 20 hours a week in a 3 to 5 minute newsletter read per week, I'm going to sign up to that. And so that's your value proposition and look unique within the marketplace. Step 3 is mastering the PAS framework. Problem, agitate, solution. This is a very well-known copywriting framework that, again, a lot of copywriters use to identify a problem, agitate the problem, and then offer a solution. When you craft your newsletter with PAS, what ends up happening is it keeps retention high, people are engaged, and they want the solution. When you start to develop frameworks for your writing, not only does it take less time to write, but you're also able to actually solve the problems your audience is facing. And again, most commonly, problem, agitate, solution. But for those that want more examples of different frameworks, go to the link in the description. There is a swipe file full of creators. These are guys like Charlie Morgan, KJ Rainey, Dan Coe, just to name a few. And there's a very long list of how they write their emails. And I've identified the type of copywriting framework that they're using. Let me tell you right now, most commonly used is the PAS, but we're going to cover a couple other frameworks that will help you write your newsletters. So this is step 3. These are a couple more copywriting frameworks that are used pretty often. BAB, HLD frameworks, before, after, bridge, most commonly used for testimonials. If you're a coach or some sort of founder, oftentimes you want to showcase, the before, the after, and then the bridge, what got you there. The other one is an HLD, which is used typically for weekly newsletter announcements. It usually gets very good open rates and click-through rates. So something like hook, lead, delivery. And again, an example of this would be why 92% of emails fail before they're even opened. The lead, most creators ignore this tiny detail. So this is kind of keeping them engaged. The lead is, in my opinion, of course, the hook's the most important, but the lead is really the second most important part. This keeps people reading. And then lastly, the delivery. Explain with value and a call to action. The best way to deliver is often with some sort of incentive. Incentivize your reader or your audience with a lead magnet or with whatever sort of value or some way to solve the problem that they're having within your email. We're still talking about frameworks, so this is still step 3, but this is the SOA framework. Situation, obstacle, and action. This is great for tutorials, case studies, and problem-solving content. I actually use this very commonly over on the platform X, and even in my Instagram Reel videos. It is by far the best way to explain a situation that people can relate to and then offer them a specific action that you want them to take. an example of this situation, we had a client launching a digital course. The obstacle, their last email launch bombed with a 1.2% click-through rate. Somebody will relate to that, and the action is we restructured their first 3 emails using HLD plus added a stronger call to action. The result was a 3.9% click-through rate. So offering an action, offering the solution, again, you could even incorporate or implement some sort of lead magnet that solves this problem for them. It is a very, very effective way to structure your newsletter. Step 4 is structure, tone, and cadence. So we typically send with most of our clients either once a week or every single day. Now, bottom line, the more content you send, the more money you make. So with that said, take that into account. But what does work really well for some founders, as oftentimes it's a time restraint. They're not able to send and write emails every single day. A weekly newsletter is a sweet spot for a lot of creators. You're able to stay top of mind every single Monday or every single Friday. But daily is often used for storytelling driven and high signal content. Oftentimes, if we are launching for a cohort or some sort of webinar, something like a daily to build the hype is very, very important. And something like a weekly just wouldn't cut it necessarily. Next up, you can also do bi-weekly. So this is a couple times a week, sometimes twice a week, sometimes even more. Again, you're trying to mix in a weekly and a daily into one, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 times a week, which works very well. Again, bottom line, what's important to understand, the more newsletters you send, the more content you send, the more money you will make. As long as you're following the frameworks and as long as you have a good value proposition and as long as you have niched down properly, this will work. Everybody knows lead magnets build newsletters the fastest. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's pretty well-known knowledge. But there's gated versus ungated growth loops. So what a gated one is it something like a free lead magnet that requires some sort of opt-in page. The beauty about having an opt-in page and free lead magnets is that you can then set up segmentation and tags, which I have a full guide in the link in the description on how to segment your emails. But what this does is it can categorize your audience into beginners, intermediates, and experts. Why would that be important? Well, when you have categories for your audience, you can then send tailored custom content to solve a beginner's problem or to solve an expert's problem. If I write a newsletter for just all 3 groups of people, certain things won't apply to certain people. So having some sort of gated lead magnet is a great way to segment your audience and really get the most amount of revenue from each person and also solve their problems uniquely. Next up is the ungated growth loop. So this is something like check out our website for a free month. Again, it's just a soft call to action, super simple. Next up, collaborations and shoutouts. This is by far one of the best ways to grow a newsletter. The second growth strategy is collaborations. Now, if you collaborate, you're able to hijack someone else's audience. Most recently, we saw Dan Coe and Justin Welsh on each other's podcast. Now, the beauty of this is both creators were able to hijack one another's audience. This is beautiful for course growth, for newsletter growth, for any sort of products or things that you're selling, even coaching programs. Having some sort of collaboration or a shout out being maybe sponsored on a newsletter is a great way to grow, and you should be actively looking for collaborations. It's actually part of our system, is finding collaborations of people that you can hijack their attention, their audience from. Next up is posting on threads. Of course, posting on X, Instagram, YouTube, of course, is another great way to grow. As far as the best type of lead magnets that we have seen perform well, of course, Google Docs have done amazing numbers. Something, again, that is solving a problem for your audience. It needs to be very specific. But on the other hand, we see great performance from CRMs and graphic-like lead magnets. Something like this where people can kind of just plug and play into their CRM and incorporate into their business does absolute numbers. So that's just a hidden gem. But of course, a Google Doc that solves a problem is just as good and can perform even better than a graphic or a CRM like this. Now, putting this whole thing together, subject line, of course, is your subject line, and oftentimes there's a preview line. Be sure you are split testing different subject lines. Second, an opening hook. Start with a problem. This gets people to relate to what you're talking about. main content, clear call to action. Roughly put, that's how you want to structure your newsletter time and time again. We have tested dozens and dozens of different email templates. This just performs time after time again, and there's a reason it performs so well and why you see it so commonly on all these other newsletters. It's because it does well. So here's an action plan. Here are the next steps. Here's what I advise anyone I work with, even if we don't end up working with them specifically. Pick your niche first and position yourself. Define who you're writing for and what unique perspective you bring. Second, write 2 to 3. I recommend 5 different versions of your value prop and test with potential subscribers. You can incorporate this in YouTube videos and Instagram videos or even on your newsletter and just see what performs best. 3, master the most common frameworks, PAS, BAB, HLD, and SOA. This will be used for different purposes, but I promise you, I use this on X, on Instagram, on YouTube, and of course, within my emails. 4, structure your emails. Again, hook, value, call to action. The most important part of any email is the hook. Get people to click first, and the value and things like that will follow, but get people opening your emails. And once you figure that out, move down the line, improve your value, improve your call to actions, but focus on the hook first. Step 5, plan growth and monetization for at least the next 90 days. What I recommend, and here's a little gem, every 30 days, your lead magnet's graphics and content should completely change. Your existing subscribers will see the same sort of lead magnet for over 30 days. They're going to want something new. So keep it fresh, keep it unique. Every single 30 days, swap out a lead magnet. And again, plan that out for 3 months. Just as a reminder, we have a swipe file of over 100 different creators and thousands of different emails that you can find with the link in the description. We have a ConvertKit segmentation guide. And as always, if you want to talk strategy about your newsletter and back-end email systems for your coaching program, or if you're a founder and you just want improved email systems, book a call with us. The link will be in the description. Again, it's 1 month completely free when you do work with us. We know our systems work. They're absolutely killing. I use the system myself. So again, book your call. It's completely free for 30 minutes. I'll audit your entire email system, tell you what sucks, tell you what's great. So thank you so much for watching. My name's Trey. Talk soon.